Pam Bondi shouldn't be defending Tom Homan without having any of the facts or all of the facts because her client boss, baby boss Donald Trump told her to. Tom Homan either took $50,000 at a FBI undercover sting and kept the money, or he didn't. All I know now is he's a leader in the administration, and that looks terrible, although consistent with the corrupt Department of Justice, FBI, and led by the corruptor-in-chief, Donald Trump. There should be a special prosecutor appointed. It's obvious that Pam Bondi's too close to this. She, in response to some hard questioning, proper questioning at the Senate a couple of weeks ago, she said, you're slandering Tom Homan, and I won't allow it. No, you should be referring this out to a special counsel who will independently look at the facts and make a report and perhaps prosecute Tom Homan. That's what should be done. We talk about it just that way on Legal AF, the podcast, and here's a clip. Let's just talk about the Tom Homan scandal that they desperately want to go away. Tom Homan takes a bag of cash. I mean, I don't know how else to put this. This was not a complicated. I know people are like, was the Grand Cayman Islands and Swiss bank accounts involved? Was there money laundering through cryptocurrency? No, it was a bag of cash. Like you're watching a 1950s black and white movie and they just took a bag of cash and handed it to the guy and said, will you accept this in return for doing something for us? And he said, yes. And it's on camera and it's on audio because the people that he was meeting with before he became the Border Czar were federal agents who had been referred to him because somebody else they were targeting said, that guy's dirty. And they said, really? Let's find out. And so he took the money and he kept the money. Did he report it on his tax returns? I don't know. Did he structure the deposits in the bank so that they didn't have to fill out a suspicious transaction report? I don't know. What did he do with the money? And now you got the administration, whether it's Pam Bondi or J.D. Vance got sucked into it. There, you can see, Karen, I want to get your view on this evolving. First, it was, get your facts straight, Senator. That was Pam Bondi to White House. Get your facts straight, Senator. Is there a video? I don't know if there's a video. You'll have to ask that guy. They're all wearing T-shirts. I'm with stupid. Go ask Kash Patel. Okay. Then they decided, well, maybe that's not working since Homan didn't deny taking the money. So they put J.D. Vance on. He's like, he always has this unctuous, smarmy, I'm sure he's taken a lot of $50,000 payments. I'm sorry, he's lost track of how many paper bags of money he's taken. Is that what you're trying to say? He's a very successful man. I'm sure there's a lot of $50,000 payments but he didn't take it for anything. And he didn't do anything wrong by taking it. And I don't know what video you're talking about, George Stephanopoulos. And that's why I'm on this show, because nobody watches it. I'm like, what the F is happening? He literally said to George Stephanopoulos, that's why nobody watches your show, George, because you ask me questions like that instead of the ones I want you to ask me. Then why the F are you on the show if nobody watches the show? What do you make of this, Homan? Do you believe, did you ever run an undercover operation or help run one?
Many.
Talk about it. Where's the audio? Where's the video?
Well, let's start with planning and preparation and what goes into an operation like this. To do a sting operation, a public corruption sting operation of somebody who you believe is going to be appointed into a government position is not something that is done every day. It is not something that the FBI does across the board. You have to get permission up the wazoo. You have to have some articulable reason for why you think this is necessary, because that's a pretty big deal, right? To do a sting operation, essentially, against somebody who you think is about to be nominated to a high level cabinet level position. And so they made a decision that there is something fishy about this guy, that we're going to do something, we're going to do this sting operation. They had multiple meetings and TAC plans. They picked the location. They had to have an undercover officer to get him to even meet there and to do this exchange. They had to have several different communications with him to set up this meeting, to get him there. They had to if there's some kind of video, perhaps they pre-wired the location. Maybe they were wearing some kind of tiny little buttonhole camera. I mean, I have no idea how they did that, but that's another factor that they put into it, is how are we going to record it? Video and audio. Okay, are we going to have the video on this person? Make sure that they can, have it in your hat and they can, record what he's saying. They go over exactly what words they're going to use, because bribery has very specific words that have to be used in order to make out a crime. There's so many factors that go into it. Another big deal is how much money, how much taxpayer dollars, essentially, are they going to utilize to do this sting? $50,000. I never used that kind of money in any kind of sting operation. That's a lot of money for law enforcement to use in this kind of operation, because you might not ever see it again, right? That money, when you buy drugs or, whatever it is that you do in these operations, you might not catch the perpetrator ultimately, or you might not build a case ultimately, and you're going to have to you might lose that money. The fact that they chose that amount of money also, to me, signals that they thought that this was a big deal, right? And that this guy potentially that he was dirty in some way or vulnerable.
That's
in some
a very
way.
good observation that nobody's made. I've watched a lot of analysis about this. Yeah, they didn't come at him with 5,000 or 10,000. That's a big number. $50,000. Picture it in a paper bag.
Yeah.
Right. So you think they knew what the going rate was, maybe, for him, that they had to give him in order to get.
That's just a lot of money. That's just a lot of money in an undercover sting. And so then they take the bills out and they log the serial numbers, because if they're going to recover the cash, they have to prove that was the cash they gave them, right? And so they photograph it. I mean, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of work. This is a meticulously planned operation that was conducted by the FBI, and they went in, and sure enough, no one's disputing that he took $50,000 of taxpayer dollars from the FBI. And why this administration refuses to answer that question, what happened to that money? Does he still have that money? What did he do with it? Did he deposit it, et cetera? Did he give it back? I mean, I would assume if he gave it back that they would have told everyone that, but the fact that they're, the deflecting and ask him, I don't know where it is. I infer that he kept the money. Now they keep saying, they found no evidence of criminality. I mean, let's just remember two things. Number one, under this FBI and this Justice Department found no criminality, right? So, and so that's one thing. But the other thing, and in fairness, is bribery is, it's a very narrow statute that you have to prove that the person took money in exchange for something that they, for a tangible thing. And
the reporting is they weren't good. They decided not to arrest them at the time because they wanted him to get into office and then make good on the quid pro quo, right? Get a contract their way. And bam, they got it. Now, of course, that was the Biden administration, DOJ and FBI. And then what happened during the election. But if you didn't have Pam Bondi, not only demonstrating a complete lack of independence, completely compromised, completely captured by the president. At one point, when she was fighting with a senator, she tried to make it about her to divert attention. Don't call me a liar. I said, I haven't seen the video. And then she defends Tom Homan. She shouldn't be defending Tom Homan. What she should be doing is appointing a special counsel to investigate this, get it away from her, let the special, if we were going to have, I could think of about 5 special counsels in the first 10 months of this administration, but I can't think of a better one than Tom Homan in the bribery scandal. Appoint an effing former U.S. attorney. Jack Smith's not doing anything these days, and let him go proctologist style and go crawl all over this issue.
Yeah,
but don't defend him. I mean, you're the Attorney General of the United States. How do you know?
Yeah, no. Instead, they're trumping up charges against Jim Comey, Letitia James. She checked the wrong box on her mortgage, and or instead they're coming up with these ridiculous charges. I mean, Letitia James, the entire allegation there is $18,000, right? That she somehow benefited for $18,000, even if she checked the wrong box
over 30 years.
Yeah, over 30 years, exactly. This is $50,000 of I think the American people should demand to know, where's our money?
Well, the good news is Democracy Forward, who's with us over on Legal AF YouTube, and Sky Perriman have filed their lawsuit. They started as a FOIA, it's kind of, you want to do this the easy way or the hard way? Here's a freedom.
The Freedom of Information Act.
Didn't get the video, didn't get the audio, so they filed a lawsuit. It's going to be up to a federal judge. So all this namby-pamby backpedaling that we're watching, humna on television and in Senate hearings, that doesn't work, as you and I both know well, in the wood paneling and leather chaired environment of a courthouse and a courtroom.
But also, look, if Pam Bondi is correct and he didn't commit a crime, then they should say that. Say why he didn't commit a crime. Why was this okay? Why? Show us the video. Tell us
what was it 50 for?
Yeah, exactly. like explain yourself. But by deflecting and not answering the questions, it's almost in some ways making us assume the worst, right?
We're back to adverse inference.
Right, exactly. Like maybe he didn't, so tell us. And then you go about defending the border and everything else that she wants us to do.
Because he took the money. It's in his bank account. He has some bullshit story that Blanche and Emil Bovey, before he got on the third, and Cash podcaster Patel, because the boss told him clear Homan. So they went in with, okay, Tom, what happened? Well, I took the $50,000. It's supposed to be for I don't know what, and I never made any promises, and I took myself out of the running of handling federal contracts. We all know that's bullshit. He may not have been in the direct line of sight to make decisions about federal contracts. Neither is Steve Witkoff. That doesn't mean they can't influence, poke their head in the room and say, hey, who's getting the next ICE detention center construction project? What about ABC contractors? Okay, off to coffee now. That's what happened. That's what was going to happen. But you and I shouldn't have to guess. Neither should the American people. Special counsel should be, and she has the more she's so blinded by her own ambition. It's blind ambition all over again. The title, I think, of John Dean's book about having followed Nixon effectively into jail as his White House counsel. You're watching blind ambition with her. She's so focused myopically with blinders on and blinded by her allegiance to Donald Trump that she can't even hear herself. And everything that she said that she thought was in a way to defend Donald Trump and Tom Homan is actually the very reasons she should be stepping back and appointing a special prosecutor. We sit at the intersection of law and politics. It's like a TED Talk meets a law school class every week, twice a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Midas Touch Network. Then we do a commercial-free version over on Legal AF Substack. Yep, I said Substack. It's the podcast is 5 years in the making. With your help, we're in the top 50 regularly in all news on audio. We're in the top 20 weekly rankings without, regardless of genre. And so we want you to help us continue to stay in the top of the ranks. It's important. It gives us muscle to get interviews and new content and new contributors. And the bigger we are, the more your voice is heard. Glad you're here. Hit the subscribe button on Legal AF YouTube or Midas Touch, wherever you're watching this particular clip. And then come over to Legal AF Substack and help us continue to grow that audience. That's where all the kind of nitty gritty nerding out on law and politics happens, including live reports. Become a paid member for $7 a month. And now that's the cherry on the sundae. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popak. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.